the big protein question, because it still propagates in terms of people who are interested in moving towards a more plant-centric diet, but are fearful of what that implies in terms of meeting their protein needs, especially for, the active people amongst that cohort.
Yeah, so this was a very large fear of mine when I was initially making the changes to my diet. And I always remind myself of that because it's easy to kind of dismiss it and forget that the sort of general school of thought is that you get your protein from animal foods and that plants are missing protein.
And to this day, when you go to a restaurant or you go to Chipotle, they say, what protein do you want on this?
I think there are a few aspects of protein that are somewhat misunderstood. We can perhaps clear up some of that confusion. The first would be that plant protein is missing certain essential amino acids. A protein is made up of amino acids. They're the little building blocks. Our body can make 11 of them, and the other 9 are considered essential amino acids. We have to get them through our food. The idea for many decades has been that plants are missing some of those amino acids. And you hear this idea of complete protein. And often people speak to quinoa and soy. And I think definition here is really important. It's critical to this because I think there's a misunderstanding of what complete protein means. I think most people think, okay, well, if quinoa and soy are complete proteins, that means that these other plants are missing amino acid or that they're just totally missing something. And that's not true. So all plants contain all 9 essential amino acids. They're not missing are some of those plants where certain amino acids are in lower amounts. The definition of incomplete actually, by definition within the science, although it's not used this way in general conversation, is not that an amino acid is missing. It's just that it is in a smaller percentage. And if you were to eat only that food for all of your calories, then you might run into some trouble. You might not consume enough of a certain amino acid to meet your body's daily requirement. So you can imagine that's kind of a useful definition for developing countries, places where there is food security problems. And if someone's living on 1 or 2 foods, then that's important. But if you're eating a diet where you have a range of an abundance of food options, then really it's not that helpful. So if you are eating with diversity, you might be consuming, for example, grains that are low in lysine. And look, it's true. If you were to eat certain grains and that was providing your 3,000, 2,500 calories, then you might short on lysine. The same could be said about certain beans. If you eat a certain bean for all of your calories, you might fall short on methionine, but beans are very rich in lysine. And when you start adding all these foods into your diet, some might be low in a certain amino acid, but the other food is really high.
It's really an academic exercise because almost no one is only eating one food.
Correct.
Unless you're like the spud fit guy who's eating just potatoes for a year, or you are in a developing country and there's a legitimate food scarcity issue. But almost everybody is eating at least 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 10 different foods throughout the course of a day or 2.
And if you're doing that, you're eating with that diversity and you're eating enough calories, you will not run into problems. You will get all of the essential amino acids that your body needs. And anyone can run a simple exercise. Don't believe me, download the Chronometer app. It's a free app. Plug in a day of eating and you will quickly see that you will exceed the 100% recommended amount for all 9 essential amino acids.